In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Lord, grant us concentration that we may learn, listen, understand, have a peaceful mind, and remember that you're with us always. Amen. So this is our first video related to the use of the fibers in art. This video will go through weaving, focusing on the floor loom and the parts of the floor loom and how that relates to the weaving of the fibers itself. So Brother Mark will take you through this video to be able to take a closer look at the process of weaving.
Hello. So I have a bunch of these in my area over at the press building. This is a jack loom. It's a floor loom. You would put a stool right here and you would sit and weave from that. Okay, so this, being that it's a jack loom, when you press the pedals down here, it raises these shafts, and there should be like 1, 2, 3, 4 shafts here that would raise up, and that's how then you would put your shuttle, which is right here, through, and that's where you would weave. That's how you would weave. So a countermarch loom is a different kind. It actually lifts some and pulls some down, which makes a bigger opening for your shuttle to go through. Let's just look real quickly at the different parts of the loom. So you see at the top, heddles. That is these little lines that hold your string. We'll see those in a minute. You see the beater bar is right here. That's where you throw your string through and then you beat it up against your fabric. This is actually the pattern fabric, and it's rolling around down here. It gets woven onto here, and then it kind of comes around and around here, and it gets wound down on the cloth roller down there. And it's called the weft. So that is the weft when you throw your shuttle back and forth to weave. The warp, look on the back here, the warp is what we're going to really look into in a minute here. That's when you put the string on your loom down here on the warp roller, and you bring it up through, around, feed it through the heddles and the beater bar, and then weave into it, and then it rolls around down here. All the other pieces here, the treadles, I call them the pedals or the treadles, either one, are down at the bottom. Cross piece, you don't need to know that. Take up, don't need to know that. Breast beam, so anyway, let's go on. There you go. So here is a close-up of the heddles. You see the openings here where you put your warp going through. Now you can see that there's a row of openings there, and then there's another row right here, and then there's another row here. Those are the different shafts, and then this is probably the last row here. Usually you have a four shaft loom is an average loom. You can get them with 2 shafts, but you're very limited. All you're going to get is over, under, over, under. If you use a 4 shaft, you've got a lot more variety. If you get a 6, 8, 10, they go up to like 20 shafts. The computation of the different patterns you can get is just, I can't even imagine it. So these are metal heddles. They also come in nylon. We'll see those in a minute also. Yeah. Okay, these are nylon heddles, and you can see the opening is where the person is putting the black strings through. They're all kind of clumped up there. what she'll do is once she gets enough of them together, and you always have a certain number, every 10, every 20, you don't want to go too much, but maybe 20, you wind up tying them off and just leaving them hang down here. She's got to go through all of these yet. It's a lot. Here, what this bundle here is, that is what she's feeding from. So she's reaching through here to the back. She's grabbing one of these back here and pulling it through one of the little heddle holes here, and she's going to do that 20 times and tie those up. So she's just got these resting here for her to work with. Now, this is the warp. This is what's going to be going through the loom, and you can see it's kind of a mess right now. What they've done is they've clustered some of these in the back here, and you kind of, with your hand, you hand crochet a chain to keep them all in order. That's what's going on back here. And here is, they go through this bar just to kind of hold it on. And this here, this big thing here is called a rattle. You see all the little nails that are popping up, and you notice at the very beginning she's got little pieces, maybe 10 per section, and these are probably about a ½ an inch space. So 10 per ½ an inch, that would be 20 per inch all the way across. She's going to lay them on there, then she's going to put a top on top of it so that they don't fall out, and then she's going to feed those through. So here you see what we just looked at. This is the rattle with all of the yarn, the strings through there. She's got it tied up onto this beam down here. Well, actually it's on this beam that's going to wrap around here. So this gives you a really good picture of what happens to this. This is going through here and coming out here. But when it goes through this area, this is where the heddles are. The heddles are inside here, and the shafts are also inside here. And that's where that's the hard part of doing weaving, is getting it all set up and getting it warped. So this is again, the warp. This is the warp. And keep that in mind. If you've ever seen little area rugs that are woven, the fringe on both ends, that is the warp. It's usually going to be a gray or a tan or a brown or a white. That's the warp. And then you weave into that, and that's the weft. Okay, now you have to keep it, she brought it through, so this is the side where you're going to weave on. She brought it through, and she's holding it real tight while they're cranking it on in the other side. And you crank the whole length. Sometimes it's 12, 15 feet, 20 feet long. You've got to crank all of this on in the back in order to start weaving it in the front. Okay, so here it is again. It's coming from the back. This is the back here. And it's going through, and they're holding it onto the front, kind of unchaining it, getting it ready to, and untangling it, and then you keep cranking it on until you get it all the way on. Here's another good picture of the heddles. This is the hook that she's using. It's blurred, but there's a little hook on the end. She puts it through the eye, grabs the string, pulls it through, and again, she's feeding these strings through there. Okay, now here she's got lots of clusters of string or the warp again, coming through here. And what she does is after she gets so many, you see these knots down here. She's tied them up into clusters. Okay, now you can see all the clusters are hanging back here. Well, what's this? This is actually called the reed. And that is going to have, that's kind of missing the top right now. Once the top's on and screwed down, it becomes the beater bar. And that is what beats your the weft into the warp. So what she's done is once she feeds all of these strings through each one of the different shafts, through the pedals, now she has to feed it through this reed. And the reed, it's a lot of little openings. And you have to put 1 or 2 threads, depending on how tight you want the weave, through these openings. Now this is probably maybe a 15 or 20 dent reed if she's doing 20 per inch. And dent means slots. Basically there's 20 slots in the reed, or 10, or she may be doing a 10 slot, 10 dent reed and putting 2 strings at a time through. You can do that also. Here's a better picture. You can actually see the dents in here, and you can see she's bringing it through, and yeah, I talk about it up here, so you can look at that later. Okay, now once she gets all of them, here's the reed again, this is the reed. Once she gets all of them through there, now she's got to tie it on to the bar here. And the bar is tied on and goes down below here and gets wrapped around. So she's bringing the string through all the tie-ups and getting it all tied on. Now, when you do this, the tension is really important. Every one of these strings up here has to be the same tension. So you have to pull it all nice and tight and even tension. So now she's got it all warped up. And she's got good even tension on there, and you can see what I've got here. The warp starts down here, comes up through here, goes through here. It's going to continue around down here and wrap around there. That's the pathway of where the warp is going to go. Once it gets right in this area here, see the beater bar, the reed here? From here to here, that is what is going to get woven. Everything from the back here is not woven. It's going to be just string. Here is where you throw your reed or your shuttle and weave right through there. This is just to show you the back all warped, all tied on. And one thing I didn't talk about yet is the petals. Look at the petals down here at the bottom. The petals are important because you can see she has 10 petals. Depending on how she puts the strings through the different heddles on the shafts, you get different patterns. Okay, here's where she's hooking up the petals on the bottom. And you can see all these different slots on the petals. Basically, you can put you can do any combination of whatever pedal you want to be shaft 2, 4, and 8 if you have 8 shafts. You can do that on whichever pedal you want to. Okay, now here she's actually starting to weave. Now this area here, I say it's the shed. That's the weft. When she's weaving, she's actually going to push this bar back up here and press one of the pedals. It's going to open this up, and she's going to shove her, you'll see that in a minute. She's going to shove her weft through there, and you can see that this is already woven here. Okay, here's the beater bar is right here. The shed is this opening, this big V that you see here. That's where she's going to push the shuttle. You'll see that in a minute. And when it comes out the other side, she's going to press this beater bar up, and it's going to create more of the woven pattern. Again, a real good shot of the shed. This is where the shuttle goes through here. Here's the shuttle, so that you can see she's pushing the shuttle through. And here is the weaving pattern. You can see it's loose up here in the first few rows, but as you beat it in from here in, it creates the beautiful pattern there. Yeah, just another opening there. And that's it. So hopefully this fall, when you guys are all back, and some of you sign up for Fiber Arts, because I think I still have a few seats available in my class if you want to sign up for it, we will be using looms and we'll be weaving. But even if you don't sign up for the class, since you're in this class and you want to see the loom work and maybe you want to play on it, talk to me this fall when you get back on campus, email me, and we'll make sure that you get upstairs and at least look at a loom, if not, try and weave something on it. Okay? So you guys have a good rest of the day and have a wonderful, wonderful Holy Week. And I hope you all, even if you can't go to church, you watch Easter Sunday Mass on TV. EWTN, I'm sure, will have it like all day long. So make sure you do that, and I'll be seeing you.
And thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, please post those on the discussion boards on Schoology and or contact us and we will make sure you get an answer. Thank you.